What's up, folks? Stu Myrick here for another edition of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling Live. Hope you had a good weekend. We did not do a video last week because I was actually on the road for work for the real job, the one that pays all the bills. And so we did a show, and of course you got to hear it. Big thanks to Mark Hoke from KDWN-FM in Las Vegas, talking Double or Nothing and the latest in WWE. It was good. It was good to talk to him. So this week it will be the normal myself and Justin as soon as Justin gets here, and we will go through a lot of stuff. It's going to be an interesting show. I mean, there's definitely build to the build to Forbidden Door, which we saw some steps taken. I guess it would be Sunday morning here in the U.S., Sunday night in Japan. And we even have a couple matches official. So we'll talk about that. Plus some of the other things that's happening in AEW and New Japan. We'll also talk more Bloodline drama in WWE. So yeah. I'm gonna kick things off. We are gonna kick things off. Something that's happened in the sports world. It was announced this morning that has parallels to pro wrestling. If you have not heard, if you're a golf fan, you've definitely heard. It was announced this morning, and in the golf world, this is huge. It was announced this morning after the last couple years of acrimony and lawsuits and biting back and forth and everything. The PGA Tour, Live Golf, funded by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, and the DP World Tour are going to merge into one company. It was announced they're going to merge, administrative offices and all that good stuff. The PGA Tour will remain there. They will incorporate elements of Live Golf, which will include some team competitions. This not only caught golf fans off guard, this caught tour players off guard, both on all three tours, but especially on the PGA Tour and on Live Golf. And as you might imagine, there was some harsh feelings about it. They had a Jay Monahan, who is the commissioner of the PGA Tour, held a meeting with the PGA Tour golfers there in Canada this week for the RBC Canadian Open, and he held a meeting with several of those golfers, and more than a few of them gave him a piece of their mind. He was called a hypocrite, called a few other names. Talked about how it's you're helping out a tour that not only a few months ago you were trying to sue and say would never merge them, and basically said that any golfers that left the PGA Tour to play for Live Golf, they would not be welcome back on the PGA Tour. Well, that's all changed. So I mean, it's changed. We will see how it's changed. Again, this happened this morning. So they've still got a lot to work out as far as, like, again, how to bring some of those golfers like Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson and some of the others, bring them back to the PGA Tour. So we'll see. And there's some similarities. There's some parallels. You know, you think back to 2001 when WWE bought, then the WWF bought WCW. And there was a lot of feeling, especially you hear the stories of some of those WCW wrestlers like Booker T, like Diamond Dallas Page, and others, that when they first walked into those WWE locker rooms, they were met with not so cordial greetings. And that's going to be that's what we're going to see with the LIV Golf players going back to the PGA Tour. Also, some of the tribalism among fans. Now, LIV Golf was not it was a blip on the radar, really. They had the TV deal with the CW, and I'm not even sure. I think a few of those tours were even, it wasn't live. It was like tape delayed. So, but there are those fans of LIV Golf that, it's kind of like what we see today between WWE fans and AEW fans, the tribalism and all that good stuff. Anyway, we'll talk about it. Justin and I'll talk about it. And again, like I said, we'll also go through the latest. So, latest in AEW, the latest in WWE, New Japan. New Japan held their Dominion event, which is, comparable to SummerSlam for New Japan. That's their second biggest event behind Wrestle Kingdom, the Tokyo Dome show. So, yeah, it'll be good. NXT on the television right now. We got Von Wagner and Robert Stone. I don't get what has something to do with the whole. I don't know. Anyway, we just saw the Schism get a cheap win against Diamond Mine. Ava used a foreign object, I think it was a mask, as Justin Simmons. Looks like he walked off a golf course a little bit.
Oh, I wish.
What's up, man?
What's going on? Oh, JYD shirt, nice.
You like that? I forget who it was. I think it was Eddie Kingston. I saw it on Dynamite one, and he had one on.
And he was wearing one?
I found it online, so I had to order, because I got to see JYD.
I mean,
in his
what was
back in the Mid-South days.
Okay, so,
and WWE, but
so then you
primarily Mid-South.
What was it? Was Stagger Lee?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That was the big angle.
It was that was their version of the Midnight Rider angle with Dusty.
Yeah. Okay. That's because I was like, oh, that was his big angle, right, in Mid-South. He never won the championship, did he? But he was like a contender.
I want to say he did win the North American title at least once. He didn't hold it long.
Okay.
And yes, he was a contender much more than he was a champion.
I mean, the chase is what draws the money.
I think he held tag titles with. Oh, who he held the tag titles with? Wasn't Hacksaw.
Oh, in Mid-South?
Yeah. He held tag titles.
I forget. There was a lot of good guys that went through there, but I'm trying to think.
Oh, it was stacked.
Yeah, because it was Duggan, DiBiase,
yeah.
JYD. Big Boss Man, right? Didn't he go through there?
He was there. He was there as
Trailer?
Big Bubba Rogers. Yeah.
Right.
He was there for a bit. I think that's where he started the whole being the bodyguard for Jim Cornette.
Oh yeah, that would
Rock
make
and Roll
sense.
Express, of course, was there. Midnight Express, Fantastics, they were there.
All right, so you had some
Terry
Tommy Fulton.
Taylor.
Oh, back when Terry Taylor was like the guy.
Oh,
like
he
was going to be the guy.
Yeah. So
you didn't want to take anything away from you. You've already seen those Vice episodes, all of them.
I saw the first one. I have not, obviously, new one tonight.
Okay,
on
so
Magnum TA.
that's the big one tonight. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to see that one, but that first one was so sad.
Magnum TA was a big, he had that rivalry with Mr. Wrestling too.
See, like this is before my time.
Yeah,
like the Magnum TA thing, I only know in story.
It was so Mr. Wrestling 2 brings in Magnum TA as his protege, and then ended up turning on Magnum, and they had a big rivalry. This is before Magnum went to Crockett.
Okay.
And then had the I Quit match with Tully Blanchard at Starrcade.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I was going to ask. Like, even in my research, I don't really even know where he came from, or I don't just remember.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, he just appeared in NWA one day, and then he has the accident, and that's it. And I'm like, well, I don't even know where he really started. Like, how did they find this guy?
And I don't know where he came on before that, but I know he spent some time in Mid-South.
Okay.
So he tagged with Hacksaw Jim Duggan for a bit.
Wouldn't that mean that the Freebirds would have gone through Mid-South?
Freebird, well,
or at least Michael Hayes.
They did appear in Mid-South. It was kind of basically a talent sharing deal between Bill Watts and Fritz Von Erich.
Okay.
So you would have, like, for instance, you'd have world class stars come over to Mid-South and vice versa, because they were so close. I mean,
yeah, the territories
from Shreveport to Dallas, you're talking 3 hour drive.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, even back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had the Freebirds would show up. The Von Erichs would wrestle. You saw Kevin on there quite a few times. There was the one that I talked to Jim Ross about, the match with Ric Flair and Ted DiBiase. It was for the world title. DiBiase had gotten attacked at the beginning of the show by Dick Murdoch, and Murdoch slams DiBiase's head into the ring post.
Ooh.
And they, played up the injury angle. Well, then DiBiase comes out. He's got the big bandage wrapped around his head, puts on a classic with Ric Flair. It was really good. It was that was probably one of the matches I remember best from Mid-South.
Okay,
so,
I'll just track that one down.
Yeah, they used to run the Superdome.
Wasn't that their big arena?
That was
like their Omni. Essentially?
That was usually their big shows. So yeah, it was a hot territory for sure.
See,
I mean, you look at the lineup that was in Mid-South. I think they're all Hall of Famers now.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, oh, when we have like slow show weeks, we need to get people from those time periods together and see if we can track anybody down and just talk about it, because it's like, oh, I want to learn, but I'm sure it's like a nice reminiscence area time.
Oh yeah, well, like when I talked to Jim Ross a couple years ago, that was, I wanted to talk to him about me. I wasn't really worried about AEW. I wanted to talk about Mid-South.
Let's just talk about Mid-South and everything, and how that was driving around.
So anyway. Oh, so it's Dana Brooke. We got all sorts of Raw and SmackDown folks showing up in NXT.
I don't know. She's standing in the parking lot.
And she's in the parking lot, so God help her. Get inside, please, Dana. There you go. Good girl. So anyway, how was your weekend?
Oh, man, I just work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah. As a freelancer, I need to, but it all adds up.
That's
so there's
good.
not really. It's okay, but it's like, there's like the whole work-life balance thing. It's there isn't really ever a down day. There's always a day to do something, which can be nice, but even I want a break.
Yeah, I believe me. I understand. I did not, in fact. So I was out of town last week on the real job. I get home Friday. And I got home relatively. I mean, I'd say around 2 in the afternoon. So it was decent time. Saturday, I was so lazy. I didn't even attempt. Well, actually, truth be told, so I'm debating in my head whether I was going to go cover Austin FC that night.
No, you missed nothing.
Well, it ended up I crashed on the couch. When I woke up, it was like 6. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going. And yes, good thing, because what was it, 38 minutes in, they had the lightning delay.
Yeah, that was like.
And the delay was for like an hour and a half, something like that.
It was like 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's a long delay.
Yeah, all that, and then they finally resume, and then Austin FC ends up losing. So I am really glad I did not go out there. Did, of course, do Inspire After Death with the Kingpin.
You did work.
We had a great show Sunday. We'll talk about it a little bit. So yeah. So getting ready to head to South Padre for work.
Oh yeah, when you taking off?
I fly out Thursday morning.
When you back?
I'll be back Saturday afternoon in time to eat, pack the car, sleep, and then Sunday had to Bastrop up for my 29th year at Boy Scout Summer Camp.
It's a long time.
It would have been 30, but we had to skip 2020 because of Global Bastard.
Yeah. Definitely denied everybody.
Yeah.
Happiness.
So, but it'll be fun. So, all right, let's make a little radio magic here, and we're gonna start talking about golf. We're gonna start off by talking about golf. By the way,
you tell them that.
I already told them. I'm
know.
telling you.
I mean,
we are gonna we're gonna tie it to wrestling, but it was a big story this morning. So here we go.
What's up, everybody? This is Rocky Asuka Romero, and you are listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick.
It is Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. How are you, man?
All in one piece. A little tan, a little Ric Flairish, had the drinks.
Okay.
Had the food, had the women. It was a good week.
All right, good. We like that.
Who doesn't like going to the beach?
That's right. I'm heading there later this week. So, before we get into the meat of wrestling, there was a story in the sports world that broke, and we're recording this on Tuesday night, so it broke this morning, and there are parallels to what has happened in wrestling. If you follow golf, this was a seismic story. This morning woke up to report that after 2 years of acrimony and lawsuits and biting back and forth, the PGA Tour, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, a.k.a. Live Golf, and the DP World Tour are merging. They're going to merge into one company. It will remain the PGA Tour. They're going to bring in elements of Live Golf, like the team play and a few other things.
Okay, but
this is now. Let's first of all, a little bit of background. So, Greg Norman and this Saudi public investment fund. This is the same fund that is paying WWE for all those Saudi events.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to break away from the PGA Tour to do their own tour. They lured several PGA Tour players like Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson and who else am I thinking of? Phil Mickelson. Lured them away with huge paychecks to play on Live Golf. The PGA Tour said, okay, if you go play for Live, you're not welcome back on the PGA Tour.
Okay,
Which
so
was
it's
like-
like CMLL and AAA.
Kind of, yeah. Actually, that's a good one. So now they have decided to merge, which had the feeling of back in 2001 when WWF at the time, now WWE, bought WCW. Now, this is a merger, at least that's what's being presented as, and not one company buying the other. PGA Tour is supposed to retain majority voting rights on their new board, all that good stuff. There's a couple things to think about. First of all, as I said, there's kind of the little bit of a comparison to WWE buying WCW back in the day. There's also something about tribalism, which we see today between WWE fans and AEW fans and whatever. Apparently, there are Live Golf fans who now don't like the PGA Tour and vice versa. And so when this news broke this morning, and it was not only was it a shock to the sports world and golf fans, it was a shock to the golfers too. So you got the PGA Tour is in Toronto for the RBC Canadian Open, and there was actually some guys out on the driving range, and all of a sudden their phone blows up with this story, and there were more than a few expletives being thrown
sure.
around. In fact, Jay Monahan, who's the commissioner of the PGA Tour, held a meeting this afternoon with the tour players that are in Toronto, and he was met with some there were more than a few that were pretty upset. One player who was not named, according to a report from ESPN and the Associated Press, one player outright called Jade Mahans a hypocrite.
Well, yeah.
So, and like I said, the only reason I'm bringing this up is just because of the parallels to what we have seen in pro wrestling. So, we'll see how this carries out. Obviously, they got to figure out, for instance, how do you let Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson back on the PGA Tour? You gotta, there's also going to be the talk of TV rights and such. Believe it or not, Live Golf does have a TV deal with the CW. Now, they are going to play out the rest of their 2023 season. So, we won't really see much in the way of combined. I mean, we saw a little bit with, Brooks Koepka almost winning the Masters and then winning the PGA Championship. But for the most part, we probably won't see much in the way of, like, for instance, guys on the Live Golf Tour rejoining PGA Tour. We won't see that until next year. So, but like I said, it's interesting to, and not to mention another notch for the Saudi investment fund, who, before Endeavor made the purchase, they were rumored to buy it. They were rumored as potential buyers for WWE. As we said, WWE's made a ton of money off those Saudi events, including the most recent one, Night of Champions. And there's the feeling about, okay, the Saudis at least making investments into the PGA Tour, which U.S. Pro Sports League is next. Because we know they have investments in the Premier League. Could we see them maybe buying one of the Major League Soccer teams, or even make it, NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball?
It's tough because our sports don't work like European soccer. Like, you can't. There's salary caps, so it really just depends on how big of a opportunity they see just ownership, because they can't just inject it with money and expect to win. Not saying that it wouldn't help or wouldn't hurt. I'm sure the Oakland A's would love an owner that would spend, towards the top tier. But I just don't see it happening right now. And I'm still interested to see if this even really resonates, because, the viewing numbers for Live Golf Tournament, at least, viewing-wise on television and streaming, weren't that high. So
No.
It really feels like this is a win for the golfers in the long run and for Live Golf, but it does feel that, the PGA kind of just sold its soul. But that's what even I had to contend with when my favorite soccer team was bought by a sheik,
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that one golfer said today when they heard the news, how dare, why is PGA Tour throwing a lifeline to Live Golf when you had them down? You mentioned the TV numbers. And look, it's, the CW isn't exactly, when they talk about the big four networks, the CW is not one of them. So it's, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And like I said, we probably won't see much movement until 2024 as far as that type of thing. And again, players rejoining the tour. So, but interesting stuff, nonetheless, and you got to imagine it's going to be that Canadian Open in Toronto is going to be really interesting with this kind of news. So, and the way the fans may or may not react to it. So, let's get into AEW. Tony Khan.
Well,
The latest big announcement, which was last week, and he's got one coming up. So he did confirm that at the first AEW Collision, which will be June 17th in Chicago, it will mark the return of one CM Punk.
yeah, but you want to talk about like how Live Golf kind of got rescued by the PGA or whatever. It's kind of like, well, is CM Punk kind of flopping on this return? Because from, the reports, it's just Chicago that's really getting kind of the bump in sales because CM Punk is coming back. But the next Collision.
But yeah, and that's the thing. Look, this thing has been, there's been so much. If you want to believe the talk around the campfire, there has been so much talked about the deal, CM Punk being brought back and how Ace Steel fits in and this and that. And I'll be honest. I have not missed CM Punk. Now I will gladly admit I'm probably an oddball, but I haven't really missed seeing him.
I don't know if you are now. That's just it. Maybe 6 months ago I would have said like, yeah, how could you say that? But now it's kind of like, well, it doesn't seem like the product is going to be any worse without him, and it doesn't seem like it could be much better with him. But I'm just talking about right now. It all depends on how they implement him.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if they just try to kind of shoot past all the fallout that brought us back to this point, then it's kind of a waste.
Yeah.
But if they touch on it And again, when pro wrestling's at its best is when it takes real life situations and brings them into front of the camera where you get that nice creamy overlap of work and shoot and you can't decipher which is which, then they got something. But they really need to utilize this moment.
Yeah, the problem with that is that you've got to walk a very fine line.
Yeah, but the
You
AEW fans
can't
are the
be-
smarkiest of the smarks.
You can't be doing work shoot all the time, otherwise you get into a Vince Russo situation. There are still a good chunk of wrestling fans, even for AEW, that simply want to be entertained and don't really want to hear about all the backstage nonsense.
I guess there's a few, but see, I think it's the opposite. I just think that the AEW fans are so smart that they want to know all of that, and that's the juiciest part to them, because those are the people that spend money to
But
go
I
sit in
think
the front row.
but I
those
think-
are the people that spend money on merchandise.
I get it. I just think it's the concept of too much of a good thing, and I think like I said, that's why you gotta be careful about stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. If you're listening to us on the horn, Tony Khan had another big announcement. I think this is like 4 weeks in a row with the big announcements as to the main event for that first episode of Collision. So, and how much you want to bet CM Punk is involved?
I would think he would
So,
be.
Uh,
But I do have to say, though, when it comes to this whole situation, isn't it a little interesting that they're going kind of like the soft Bret Hart route, where CM Punk is going to be a hero in Chicago, but he's going to be hated pretty much everywhere else he goes.
that's very likely, and that's going to be interesting to see. It really is. Last week on Dynamite, you saw Alex Marvez in the back trying to talk to the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page. And they were reiterating, look, yeah, we took the L, but we're still the heart and the soul and the spirit of this place. And Heyman is about to go talk to Dark Order. Alex stops and says, hey, what's this we hear about Kenny Omega signed to leave the country and go to Canada to look for help? And Hangman confirmed, yes, he left the country, not Canada. So, seems to imply that Kenny went to Japan. So,
See,
I guess the countdown will be on until we see Kota Ibushi debut for AEW.
I think it'd be
The
funny.
reunion of the Golden Lovers.
What about if it's Vilcino?
Do what?
What about if it's Vilcino? What about if he goes to Mexico and gets help instead? Just because he said not Canada doesn't mean
Well,
he
he
has to go
didn't
to
have to
Japan.
because Vikingo was on Rampage. Didn't have to go out of the town. He didn't have to leave the arena. So we'll see. I think most people are expecting it'll be Ibushi. We'll see. We shall see. Last week on Dynamite, Don Callis and Kinesuke Takeshita come out. The Heat, though, they got booed out of the building.
Oh yeah, there was some real disdain.
So now it's all right. So who gets more heat now? Is it Callis and Takeshita, or is it Dominic Mysterio?
Oh no, it's still Dominic. To me, it's still Dom. Nobody can beat Dom right now. That's Dom's
I tell
pretty
you
close,
what,
man.
it was pretty close.
I'm
I'll
glad
give
to
it
see
that.
it. I'm glad to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, you saw Monday Night Raw and Dom.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like couldn't even get a word in against the most popular babyface.
Yeah,
Like
I
nobody. That whole segment was gold.
Yeah, but yeah, good on Don Callis and Takeshita. They were just they didn't want to hear anything.
But see, like, yeah, that's my only problem though. It's just like, when you have somebody that's not in-ring competitor so over like that, it's really hard to harness. So I'm hoping that they are able to utilize it.
I hope so. So New Japan Pro Wrestling held their Dominion event, which would have been, let's see, I guess it would have been Sunday morning. here in the U.S. Sunday night in Japan. Dominion, as we were told by our good friend Kevin Kelly, is basically their version of SummerSlam. It's their second biggest event behind Wrestle Kingdom, the Tokyo Dome show. A couple of moments that help build towards Forbidden Door coming up on June 25th in Toronto. First of all, in a number one contenders tournament final for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, Will Ospreay defeated Lance Archer. So now it will be Will Ospreay facing Kenny Omega for the U.S. title at Forbidden Door.
Well, Ospreay got lucky because Lance was working with a couple of tricep tears.
Yes, he did. Lance Archer did confirm afterwards on social media that he has been dealing with a torn tricep, which also explains why we haven't seen him wrestle much
in AEW, right?
So anywhere. So he said he didn't want it, but we're going to say best wishes to Lance.
Begrudgingly, if it makes him feel better.
Yes. But hope he gets back to 100%. We can see him back in the ring on a regular basis. So, but yeah, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega. That's a match that a lot of people have been wanting to see, and so they're going to see it. It's going to be for the U.S. title. Should be fantastic. The other moment, so you had Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Tomohiro Ishii successfully defending the never openweight 6-man titles, defeating Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor World Champion, Jon Moxley, and Shota Umino. After the match, Okada gets greeted via video by none other than fellow Blackpool Combat Club member Bryan Danielson, who issues the challenge. Okada has accepted it, and so at Forbidden Door, it will be the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, facing the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada.
Now that's the one I want to see.
That's going to be good.
I don't want to hype it up too much, though.
But it's going to be good. We know it's going to be good. That's going to be. I'm
trying to keep my expectations, moderate, because I don't want to. I just don't want it to have to live up to the standards of what they would put on, 5 to 8 years ago.
Yeah. No, I get you. So.
But it should be good.
Yeah. So we have 2 matches official. I'm sure. I would think tomorrow night on Rampage, and again, if you're listening on Horn, you will have already seen it. Might have at least 1 or 2 more matches made official, so we shall see. New Japan also confirmed the competitors for this summer's G1 Climax 33 tournament. I'll go through the list. Okada, Tetsuya Naito, Sonata, who is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Will Ospreay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, David Finlay, Shota Umino, Shingo Takagi, Ishii, Tamatanga and Tangaloa, the Guerrillas of Destiny, Hikuleo, Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi. Let's see, Toru Yano, Kenta, Zack Sabre Jr., Taichi, Eddie Kingston from AEW, El Phantasmo, Ren Narita, Evil, Chase Owens, Jeff Cobb, Great Okan, Aaron Hanare, Gabriel Kidd, Alex Coughlin, Shane Hasty, Mikey Nichols, Yota Tsuji, and Kaito Kiyomiya from Pro Wrestling Noah, former 3-time GHC heavyweight champion.
Okay.
So he's going to make his entrance into New Japan's G1 Climax. So should be a big one. We know the winner gets the title, world title shot at Wrestle Kingdom. If Sonata wins, means he gets to choose an opponent. So, and Sonata did say he plans to win the tournament as champion. So, we also know that Ring of Honor's next pay-per-view, Death Before Dishonor, will take place on Friday, July 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. It'll be at the Cure Insurance Arena in Trenton, New Jersey. Kind of looking forward to seeing that pay-per-view. Because, you know, the recent Ring of Honor episodes on Honor Club, some fascinating matchups. This week, I think we're going to see Vert Vixen.
Oh, okay.
Taking on Mercedes Martinez, the former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion.
Yeah.
That should be a good one. Vert Vixen, I mean, I remember she was training over at AEW here in Austin.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
And now she's like Defy Women's Champion. She is a huge star traveling all over the place. Man, good gig if you can get it. So Death Before Dishonor, Friday, July 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, from Trenton, New Jersey. So we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, more Bloodline drama in WWE, and we'll talk about it. That's next on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. 23-25. Oh, man. By the way, did you see NXT last week?
No.
So they had Tiffany Stratton, who's now the NXT Women's Champion.
Yes.
She comes out and cuts a promo.
It looked good. From the
That's
show.
the. She looked good. Yes. That's about all I could say. I don't know who's doing promo classes in the Performance Center.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever it is, they need to schedule some extra time with Tiffany.
Okay.
It was a little rambling.
Yeah, I did not see that. So
It was just. I know she's trying. I know she looks great. She looks good in the ring. Right now,
okay, so she's
talking is not her strong suit.
Yeah, and that happens.
It happens. That means she
But
could grow into it.
But she's definitely going to be given the time because they're invested. She has like the Vince McMahon WWE look.
Oh God!
And
yeah.
just happens to be really good in the ring too.
Yeah, she is. She is.
I mean, she's very athletic. That whole double springboard
yeah.
moonsault thing it's not a common thing.
Like I said, she's got a good look. They're supposed to do a battle royal tonight on NXT to determine her next challenger. Joe Gacy and Mustafa Ali. Oh yeah. Oh man. All right, let's make a little more. YouTube, Twitch, we'll be right back. Back here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons.
Did that come from the show that he did here in Austin, or did that come from
Cap City? Yeah.
Okay.
When we got to see him at Cap City.
Well, it could have came from Hall of Fame. I couldn't remember.
No, that came from Cap City.
Okay.
It did. So, which was good. I think he's still doing those every now and again. There's quite a few of them. Kevin Von Erich is now doing a one-man show. In fact, they announced more dates. They're going to be in Houston, San Antonio, and everywhere else, I think Jake Snake Roberts still does one-man show every now and again.
Oh yeah, he's been performing recently.
So.
And obviously the WWE's let you know about Undertakers here like every
Yes, yeah. the One Dead Man show, which that should be. I mean, you got to imagine that's got to be great.
Well, he even I think mentioned like in some interview with like Stone Cold, I believe he like took some classes here recently to try to even improve the performances of the show. Yeah.
I mean, I hope he gets a little bit into when he first got discovered at the Sportatorium by Fritz.
Oh, I'm not really sure what his show like.
I know he shared that story with the Longhorn football team when he came out to practice a couple times. Talked about sitting outside Fritz's office, So, last week on SmackDown, they celebrated Roman Reigns' 1,000 days. I think technically it's 1,006 days.
As they should.
As Universal Champion.
Best storyline they've had in years.
They even gave him a new belt.
Well, they finally answered our question.
Which, if he carries just that one instead of the two, then I'm okay with it.
Well, I was going to say they put photos today on social media, and they only showed him with just that belt. Good.
Now, it's interesting. When I first saw it, I'm thinking they grabbed Snoop Dogg's belt.
That's right.
Because it looks like Snoop Dogg's. But, and it says Undisputed Champion, not Universal Champion, which... All right. I mean,
you think
I don't know how you can call him undisputed champion when you have Seth Rollins carrying the World Heavyweight title on Raw.
Oh, I mean, the simple workaround in wrestling logic would be like, oh, he's just carrying the lineage of the Universal Undisputed Champion. He's the guy who beat the last guy.
Sure. And I think we asked this last week. What happens to the lineage of the WWE Championship?
Yeah, I think it just gets swallowed.
Does it just stop with Roman? At least for now.
At least for now,
because he would be the last person to hold it. So,
I'm pretty sure they'll find a way to retrofit all this stuff in another 20 years.
I suppose. So yeah. The bigger story, however, was the drama. The drama continues with the Bloodline. So, whole show, they're trying to ensure that Jimmy and Jey Uso are not at the building and they're not going to be on the show. So they get to the celebration and Triple H hands him the new belt and he's posing with it. And all of a sudden, sure enough, there's the Usos music. And they come out, and Jimmy's talking about how, he's glad he did what he did by super kicking Roman. And he wants respect, and Jay's still trying to make peace. And Jay made this plea. They want to go back to doing what they do, and Jimmy's going, yes, that's all I want. I just want some respect. Can we be the Bloodline? Roman reaches over, gives him a hug, and while he's hugging him, lifts that microphone up, says, no.
Yeah, that was great.
And sure enough, Solo Sikoa, who's Jimmy and Jay's younger brother, gives the spike to Jimmy. And they leave. So this week on SmackDown, we're supposed to find out where Jay's loyalties lie.
Oh, we might
in fact, you heard. So you hear as they're walking away, Paul asks Roman, "What about Jay? What about Jay?" And Roman goes, "He'll do what he always does. He'll fall in line." So we'll see. It is easily a continuation of one of the best storylines they've had in years. And
I mean, it makes total sense to me now. I mean, it really does seem the only way that Roman would lose the title if he has to defend it on his own, by himself.
yeah. Well, and you got to imagine. I think we talked about it. You got to believe it. This is going to set up Roman versus Jay, Roman versus Jimmy, Roman and Solo versus Jimmy and Jay. So we're going to have at least bare minimum 6 months worth of story.
Well, that's good, though, because
it is good.
I remember last time we had main event Jey Uso, and it looked like he was really going to stay in the main event and get out of the tag team. But now they can elevate Jimmy to the same level and have them both be like individual stars, essentially, kind of like the Hardy Boys were.
Yeah.
And because Roman's going to be done here eventually, like then the future looks real promising.
Yeah, they're not going to. I mean, so he will. The next legend he surpasses Pedro Morales, and then the only three he's got left is Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan, and Bruno.
I mean, I don't ever see anybody surpassing Bruno.
No, it's not. That's not going to happen.
But Hogan, maybe.
I could see I think Backlund would be next. I think he's at like 1,200 days or something like that.
I mean,
I could see Backlund.
I just like it. I mean, at this point,
I don't
you're so
know
far in.
I don't know if he surpasses Hogan.
You're so far in. The story has its moments where it kind of waned, but it's now back on a high pitch, and it seems like it's going to kind of ride that wave. Where sometimes it's going to be kind of but other times it's going to be great. Kind of like the NWO. It's going to kind of come and go until hopefully it doesn't overstand.
That would mean that Roman's going to hold that title until SummerSlam 2024 at least.
Yes, and that's fine because maybe Cody Rhodes by then can have traveled all the roads he needed to travel in order to finish the story.
I guess. I still think he should have won it this Mania, but that's me.
I mean,
we'll
you
see.
can make that argument too, but this
I'm
bloodline.
just saying.
This bloodline story is more important.
I know.
With the title.
I know. I'm just saying it. So, you mentioned, main event Jay. Someone else that's looking to stay in the main event picture, Damian Priest from Judgment Day. He had a hell of a match with Seth Rollins on Raw.
Well, it's not surprising that he's in that main event picture now because of the work that he did with Bad Bunny and all the praise he's received here in the last few months working with Judgment Day.
Well, that not just that though, all the work he's put in going all the way back. I'll say going all the way back to Ring of Honor when he was Punishment Martinez.
I mean, he was always good.
He was always great.
But I mean,
now we're seeing like really coming together.
Yeah.
A little bit of an interesting twist. So they're having the match. And Rollins ends up on the outside, and all of a sudden, and Damian Priest had agreed to keep the Judgment Day in the back. Sure enough, Rollins is on the outside. Here comes Finn Balor, and he, kicks Rollins or whatever, and you see Damian Priest. I'll go, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And it was like, uh-oh. Could we see the beginning, the seeds planted for Damian maybe going out on his own?
I think that's going to be the inevitable because he's being lined up to be in that main event picture.
Which is interesting because I asked Rhea Ripley if maybe she was the one, because it felt like she was the one that was being lauded by herself rather than with the Judgment Day. It felt like she was becoming a big star, and so thought maybe she'd be the breakout person, but looks like Damian's going to be first. So we'll see what happens. It was a good match though. We have 4 more people qualifying for Money in the Bank. 3 women. Zelina Vega, who got the surprise victory over Lacey Evans. I don't know how surprising it is because I just can't buy into Lacey Evans anymore.
Why? She really was a Marine.
I get that. Not the person. I'm talking the character.
Yeah.
She's had so many stop and start pushes. B, she's they've turned her face heel. Now she's dressing like Sergeant Slaughter, which apparently has caught the ire of Sergeant Slaughter's daughter. But I'm not buying her. I'm sorry. She feels like a jobber to the stars again. Kind of like JD McDonough did in NXT.
Well, you do need that character to be important also in order to give those people that do beat them, an interest. Like it's.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Now, if you see her in the ring, you figure out she's taking the loss, and it's not that important.
Yeah, because people really aren't buying the gimmick because everybody's comparing it with Sergeant Slaughter, even though he's the one that didn't serve and she's the one that did. That's why I'm just kind of like, you kind of have to let her use it, because it's like all the great stuff.
I don't think it has anything to do with whether one person served or not. Look, Lacey served. I have all the respect as a fellow veteran. That's fine. But it's not so much, it's not so much the gimmick as it is just when I see her, I'm thinking, this is a match I can skip because she's taking the L.
Well, they haven't pushed her in years, but she's had stop and go, like you said. So we just kind of have to see how many wins they want to give her, or see if she just keeps on losing.
They haven't given her anything lately, so that's the thing. So Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark for the women's match. LA Knight gets the win. Yeah, he's going to be in the men's match, so great to see LA Knight. Yeah, he I still think he's destined for greatness.
Oh, we hope, but we don't. Nobody thinks that. He's kind of like the Daniel Bryan right now.
I guess we will see 4 more qualifying matches this Friday on SmackDown. Butch will face Baron Corbin, who we saw on NXT.
Who won on NXT?
Santos Escobar will face Mustafa Ali, who we also saw win on NXT. Michin Mia Yim taking on Bayley, and Shotzi taking on Io Sky. So 2 men's, 2 women's matches on Friday Night SmackDown as we get closer and closer to Money in the Bank. July 1st in London. So, congratulations to Emma and Riddick Moss. They announced their engagement. They're engaged to be married.
You're way more excited than I am. But
Instagram post on Emma's Instagram account.
I think I find it more comical that it wasn't just a gimmick that they put them together because of this.
No, they're actually dating. They're actually together. So congratulations to those two.
It just seemed weird because on TV it came off more awkward than genuine.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I'd be like, okay, well, you guys are actually getting married, and this is in storyline. Congratulations,
Also, WWE has announced a multi-year partnership with Twitch. Remember when they came down, no third-party video, whatever, stuff? Well, they've now decided to partner up with Twitch. We will see the return of the official WWE channel as well as popular WWE Superstar channels featuring live and exclusive content. In addition to the launch of the channel per the press release, WWE will debut a companion sidecast to Monday Night Raw, bringing the WWE Universe behind the scenes and closer to the in-ring action. The weekly viewing experience will be led by a rotating cast of hosts and will regularly feature appearances by WWE superstars, unique and exclusive content such as backstage interviews, and more. Additionally, the official WWE channel will be home to other live productions and will serve as an alternate live streaming feed for all of WWE's premium live event press conferences. So, WWE and Twitch. Remember when Wrestle Circus decided to put their stuff on Twitch, and they were like
the first.
They were the first.
Yeah.
For all the Wrestle Circus did not live very long, but they set the table, and now everybody's on Twitch, including us. So,
But I mean, they were the first. I was just like so mind blowing because I was like, oh, we already knew it was a possibility, but they were the ones that could actually do it,
yeah. So,
and everybody followed suit.
So-
I was
so-
gonna ask you real quick though. So he's not Madcap Moss anymore. He's
no,
just,
just Riddick Moss. We
Oh.
dropped the Madcap. So, going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll let you know what's happening in Texas Independent Wrestling and more. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. 16:30. Okay. Eddie Thorpe and Damon Kemp. Eddie Thorpe, formerly known as Dadgummit. I can never remember what his name was in New Japan. I don't know. Anyway.
yeah, I have no clue who you're talking about.
This guy. Well, it was not her.
Oh, I was like, oh, I know who
But
she
yeah,
is.
Eddie Thorpe, before coming to NXT, he was part of the LA Dojo in New Japan.
Oh, so what's his gimmick supposed to be here?
Native American, which apparently he is.
Okay, so that's why the tassels and the.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Thorpe was partially Native American too, wasn't he?
Right.
Or he was Native American. I'll take that
Yes.
back. Yes.
Yes.
So
So
maybe that's kind
I'm
of
trying
like
to
a play
think,
that.
though. It's bugging me now. Carl Fredericks. That's who he was
Carl Fredericks.
in New Japan.
Wow. that's
He wrestled with Barrett Brown a few times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When Barrett would do New Japan stuff. Dabakato. Ooh, big man. All right. Let's finish this up. Here we go. Back here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. Get to see Scorpio Sky soon. Apparently, I think he's going to be part of AEW Collision.
Oh, okay. We haven't seen him in the ring in a while either.
I have not. It'd be good to see him.
It's funny because you're talking about Wrestle Circus,
Love-
and that's where I remember him from.
Part of the Wrestle Circus fam there. Love Sky. So, we'll got some independent cards to tell you about. We are going to start in San Antonio. Mission Pro Wrestling presents True Colors Saturday at the Salvation Army Mission Corps in San Antonio. Bell time, 6 p.m. Central. Alejandra Lion, Ladybird, Genocide, Jasmine Allure, and more. That's Mission Pro Wrestling this Saturday night in San Antonio. Circle 6 Wrestling presents I Want This Saturday at the Premier Arena in Houston. Bell time, 8 p.m. Central. AJ Gray, Matthew Justice, Dmitry Alexandrov, Stud Stash, and more. That's Circle 6 Wrestling this Saturday night in Houston. Reality of Wrestling presents Live Pro Wrestling Saturday night at Booker T's World Gym Arena in Texas City. Bell time, 7 p.m. Central. Edge Stone, Killa Kate, Mysterious Q, Ryan Davidson, and more. That's Reality of Wrestling this Saturday night in Texas City. And Borracho Pro presents Live Pro Wrestling Sunday at Circle Brewing Company right here in Austin. Bell time, 3 p.m. Central. Brick Savage, Max Castellanos, Emmy Camacho, Zeke Rose, and more. That's Borracho Pro this Sunday afternoon here in the beautiful ATX. And that's a look at independent wrestling around the area, wherever you may be. Go out and support independent wrestling. Inspire After Death, we had a great event Sunday night. Kids of the Black Hole. 4 title matches. Everybody retained their titles, but it was great action. The Hospital was nuts.
Oh, yeah, the hospital.
T-Ray Watford, Stud Stash, Mysterious Q, and Angel Camacho.
Wait, you guys have Mysterious Q going against T-Ray?
Yes.
Dang.
But then they've teamed up. So
Yes,
you know,
exactly. That's why.
They had to save each other. So fantastic event. We did announce that July 9th, back at Empire Control Room and Garage on East 7th Street, Beyond Ecstasy of Gold, it is our 10th anniversary show.
Dang.
Inspire After Death, 10 years on the Austin independent wrestling scene. They've outlasted everybody.
No, that's why. I wonder what he's going to call this one.
I am call it Beyond Ecstasy of Gold. I am proud to have been with Inspire for 7 of those 10 years. We know that the Pure Prestige champion, Dmitry Alexandrov, will face the Inspire Pro champion, Rachel Rose, in a title ranking match. Plus, Yua Uemura from New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling will be at that show. So make sure you get your tickets. Find Inspire After Death on all the socials, and you'll see the link. Get them now. It's going to be a great show on July 9th. So our 10th anniversary. And before we get out of here, congratulations to Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox winning this year's NWA Crockett Cup. They defeated Blunt Force Trauma in the finals. Big event in North Carolina. So congratulations to the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion and his partner. Crockett Cup. What a lineage. They even had David Crockett there
that's
to
good.
help present. So that was really cool. So that'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You can follow Justin Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter and Twitch at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We live stream on YouTube most Tuesday nights, 7:30 p.m. Central. You can catch us Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Central on the flagship radio station for University of Texas Athletics, The Horn, 104.9, 101.9 FM, and AM 1260. Or you can catch us anytime on demand by either going to hornfm.com and click on the on-air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast provider. Make sure you rate and review us while you're there. For Justin, I'm Stu. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!
And there we go. As Dabakato squeezes the life out of,
Say his name.
I guess he's still calling himself Scripps.
Yep, that's what it had. Scripts.
It's not Reggie anymore. It's Scripps. Even if he's not masked. Sure. So, programming update. Unless something big happens, we are taking next week off.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, you get the week off. I will be out at Lost Pine Scout Reservation for my 29th year at Boy Scout Summer Camp. And
are you going to party like Andre the Giant?
Are
you going to party like Andre the Giant?
No. I can't drink 147 beers. I can barely drink 2. And we can't have alcohol in Boy Scout camp. So, there's Axiom. So anyway, I will be out at camp. We're actually shorthanded on commissioners, so I wouldn't be able to come back here. I don't want to carry my stuff out to the woods. So we're just going to take next week off again, unless if something big happens, I'll do a show. You get the week off. I'll get if I need to, I'll get Semper Vivi or somebody. But otherwise, just consider it a week off. So we will be back on on, let's see, today's the 6th, so 6 for the 20th. I assume you'll be around. I guess we'll find out then.
Yeah.
So the 20th on YouTube and Twitch,
Sounds
21st on the Horn and podcast. So, by the way, again, big thanks to Mark Hoke from KDWN FM in Las Vegas for joining me last week. He was at Double or Nothing, and so got a great in-person perspective. So, and yeah, so next week like I said, we'll take the week off. We'll be back in 2 weeks. So, we're gonna sign off because I don't want to vamp anymore, and
I'm tired too.
Yeah.
I was
So,
like, I know.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for checking us out on YouTube and Twitch. And again, we will see you in 2 weeks. But for now, for Justin, I'm Stu. Thanks so much. And so long, everybody.